You're watching KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications.
This is Saturday, November the 10th, though clearly masquerading as May the 10th weather-wise, and you have entered overtime on those most critical of quarterfinal weekends. Now, to be honest, up until today, I always thought the chill in the air this time of the year, the need to bundle up with 6 layers of clothing, and the dull frostbite-like ache in my fingers, which lingered for hours afterwards and intensified and heightened the playoff atmosphere. But after 70 degrees today in shirt sleeves, I may have over-romanticized the whole freeze for football fun thing, because it was sure nice out there today. But I digress. Today's episode of Overtime is brought to you by the number 4. 4 area football teams left alive at day's start, all vying to reach their respective state Final Fours with wins today. And we shall start in the land of Lincoln with the team with the allegedly impossible gauntlet to run, Concord Triopia. 1 dragon already slayed, 2 more big ones to go today, starting with a road trip to Leroy, a team that was averaging 69 points a game coming in. And right off the bat, we got a taste of why the Leroy offense was so good. This is Corey Eastham taking the toss sweep and going 39 yards for the score early on in this one. Leroy building a 7-0 lead on the ensuing kickoff. We got a taste, and maybe the only taste early, of Triopia's potency offensively, or at least in special teams. This is the future All-Stater Derek Shoney. He's going to take the ball and he's going to rumble some 70 yards. Unfortunately for Triopia, they could get nothing going offensively in the first quarter, and for much of the first half, this drive ended with a turnover. The defense, though, standing up for Triop today. It's Dean Arent right here coming up. The big sophomore linebacker throwing people around, and after giving up that initial touchdown, Leroy's offense held in check. Near the end of the first half, though, Triopia finally awakens. Great play call right here by Rich Thompson. The middle screen to Matt Parker, and Parker's going to get his rumble on. 78 yards later, he's into the end zone for the score. PAT, or at least the 2-point conversion, fails. It's 7-6. Again, at the very end of the first half, Leroy trying to threaten again with that potent offense. Again, it's the defense, and again, it's the linebackers doing the work in this one for Triopia, getting the stops. We go to the half at 7-6. This was odd. Second half kickoff, the ball. This was an unintentional onside kick. The ball somehow sticks to the kid's foot. It ends up being recovered by Triopia, and Triopia is going to go to work. They're going to put the offense to good use right here as it's Derek Shoney. Oh, student body right in this one, picking up 18 hard yards down the sideline. More than that, actually. Ended up with 23, adding an extra 5 to the end of it. And Derek Shoney would set up, who else but Derek Shoney, going in for the score. And Triopia would have its first lead of the day at 13-7 at that point. The Trojans, though, going for the 2-point conversion. And Tanner Huddleston's going to go to the air and attack the deep corner of the end zone in this one, and that is going to result in a 2-point conversion and a 14-7 lead for Triop at that point. Boy, this game would go back and forth. Here comes Leroy, still down and still attacking. Triopia causing turnovers right there today. They would recover. I think that at the end of it, it's Derek Shoney. Maybe it's Mr. Millard at the bottom of that pile. Never did see who got the ball, but Triopia had it. Still, here we go. The attack continues in this one. Shane Bruning, who had 35 touchdowns coming into this game, picks up his 36, makes it 14 all, and that's where we're at. Triopia back on the attack in this one. Derek Shoney with a nice run to put the ball deep into the red zone. From the 1-yard line, then it would be Tanner Huddleston putting his team up 20-14. The 2-point conversion would also be good, courtesy of Derek Shoney, and that would make it 22-14 at that point in favor of Triopia. But Leroy would not go away in this ball game. Going to the air yet again, and this time at the other end of things, it is big number 6. That's Mr. Bruning with the touchdown reception. Actually, that is Mr. Eastham with the touchdown reception. And right here, it would be Leroy going for the 2-point conversion, but it's broken up by Mr. Miller. Got a hand out there, somehow managed to convert and end the 2-point conversion. So Leroy would not tie. It was 22-20. Leroy with one last chance to get into this thing. Blake Richardson's going to seal the deal on yet another Triopia upset. Are you kidding me? Rich Thompson overjoyed, overcome, and quite frankly, he can't keep his feet anymore as he's going to fall to his knees. I'll tell you what, the Trojans are for real, kids. Keep on doubting them. Some of us prognosticators have been doing that and certainly been feeding fuel to the fire as Triopia gets the win today and rolls on, winning 22-20 to advance on to the state semifinals. The WIVC well represented. Up next for them, well, it will be a home date with the biggest dragon of all, Maroa Forsyth, who was a winner today over Carrollton, 48-14. No one has laid a glove this season. at least in the postseason yet, on Maroa Forsyth. They are the odds-on favorite, but they got to go to Don Kemp Field, the Sacred Acre, next week. Saturday at 1:30, that game already set. Maroa Forsyth and Concord Triopia. Doesn't get much better than that. So we got one WIVC team in. Would we get a second? Let us take you now all the way down to DuQuoin Way. It's a long road trip. Central Southeastern, though, got off the bus ready to play. Opening kickoff, and this is pretty. Dalton Hubner showing off the speed, selling the fake perfectly and taking this 91 yards for the score. And Central Southeastern was up in this ball game 7-0 before you could blink. But DuQuoin is going to answer in that opening minute immediately as well. Central Southeastern's defense got a little bit off guard by this 62-yard touchdown rumble. It was 7-7, and we weren't even a minute of clock time into this game. The next Panther drive would be a good one, though, as Central Southeastern's offense goes to work. Little more sustained attack right here. Dalton Hubner picks up the first down with a nice gain on the ground, and that would lead eventually, as you see Mr. Hubner cutting back and forth, snaking his way here to set up Seth Leeser from 1 yard out. And just like that, Central Southeastern had seized a 14-7 lead late in the quarter. The Panthers would lead by that same score at the end of 12 minutes. After a few punts both ways, Central Southeastern strikes again in the second quarter. Douglas Weiss, we're now calling him Dougie Football for his ability to play in big games. Look at that, slips through the defense, goes 42 yards on the rumble. 21-7, Central Southeastern there. DuQuoin needs to answer before the half. They would do so. They're trying to, but look at the pass breakup right there by Marcus Landis. Great piece of defensive backwork right there to stall the drive, but DuQuoin not done yet. Brendan Fred, the outstanding quarterback, right here going to take the ball all on his own into the end zone for the score. At the half, it's 21-14, Central Southeastern with the lead. The Panthers forced a 3-and-out to start the third quarter, and then Weiss goes to work yet again. This kid is making such huge strides in the Player of the Year race. He's come out of nowhere, and he's just been phenomenal. Another touchdown made it 28-14, Central Southeastern. DuQuoin going to answer again. Again, it's Brendan Fred going right here in for the score. It's 28-21, Central Southeastern through three quarters. We're not done yet. The Panthers would drive the field yet again to start the fourth, and again, it's Seth Leeser, the quarterback, on the plunge, making it 35-21 Panthers with 9:40 remaining. Indians, though, would score in just immediate fashion after that with a 46-yard pass late in the game to make it 35-28. Now with under 2 minutes left, DuQuoin completes a long pass right here down to the 29-yard line to have a shot to try to tie this thing up at the end of regulation. But on fourth down, Brendan Fred's pass is just a bit long, and Central Southeastern is just a bit longer in the playoff picture. They're headed to the state semifinals for the first time in the history of the modern era. Oh, I tell you what, congratulations to Brad Dixon's crew, 2 WIVC teams making the trip to the Final Four. And up next for Dalton Hubner and company, a road trip, and it will be a tough one to the team that everybody thought was probably too big to end up in 2A, Belleville-Altoff, which wins tonight over Casey Westfield on a last-second field goal. This ball apparently hit the upright and bounced over to give Belleville-Altoff the win. That game will be set for Saturday at Belleville-Lindenwood University. That's what we know at this point. What we don't know is a time. That's why you like having Matt Long around, because he will dig in his feet, he'll go to the IHSA, and he'll get exactly the time, just like he did this week, that he and the Panthers want for this game. So we'll have that for you probably on Monday. That's the value of having an athletic director who's willing to be a little bit of a tough guy. So good for you, Matt Long. Great job this week to the Panthers. Great job going forward. Much more on them coming up. Let's move to the Missouri side of things, where the news was not nearly so good today. We take you to Wardsville, where Blair Oaks has built just an absolutely beautiful facility. This was a defensive battle early on as Kyle Kovar and company get into things. Great stop right there. Javen Ray in on it as well. We had ourselves a defensive Donnybrook early until Logan Pruitt sets things up right here with a nice 12-yard run. Unfortunately, that drive stalled out for Clark County, as most of them did in the first half. Defense still working hard for the Indians, though. Here it's Aaron Six with a fumble recovery, and that would set up the first scoring of the game. It comes courtesy of Logan Pruitt, a 35-yard field goal as he punches it free, 3-0 at this point. Unfortunately, that would be the only lead Clark County would have on the day, and it would be short-lived in this one. Ensuing kickoff, Ashton Mason would take it 90 yards to kind of wake up Blair Oaks, and this was an unfortunate breakdown. We hadn't seen many breakdowns from Clark County special teams this season. This was one, and that kind of just opened the floodgates from there on out. 35 unanswered points for the Blair Oaks Falcons in this one, as Clark County's undefeated and fine season comes roaring to an end today. Pick 6 turnovers were bad as well. As you see right here, Joey Burnsketter taking this one in for the nail in the coffin. Blair Oaks gets the win today, 35-3. Great season for Quentin Hamner's crew, but it is over. Meanwhile, one more game to bring you tonight, Salsbury, South Shelby. We take you down there if we can. Where are those highlights hiding from us? We'll try to get you those. Well, we'll try to get you those in a second. Apparently, they're not going to pop up right now. So we'll try to get you those highlights in a second. We will tell you that South Shelby lost today, 21-13. Those highlights coming up just a bit later in the show. I promise you in just a bit of a second. Let's move on now to the scoreboards if we can. Oh, there we go. South Shelby highlights, as I promised you. And as you see, it is the Alex Blackford fan club making the long trip to Salsbury. Second possession of the game, great bit of passing here by David Haithman, who will hook up with his fullback, Andrew Teal, then hook up with Wes Mefford right here off play action. That will move the South Shelby Cardinals into the red zone, and that sets up this, maybe the costliest touchdown of the year. This is Trace Windsor picking up the 19-yard touchdown. However, when he goes down at the end of this, hurts his back very badly, took a helmet to the back of it, and we found out later, fractured his back in 3 different places. So tough go of that. We'll talk more about that in just a second. Here's more, though. South Shelby's second possession up 7-0. It's Alex Blackford picking up the slack for the missing Trace Windsor, who never did return at that point. That sets up great play-action passing right here, as it would be David Haithman hooking up right here with Wes Mefford to make it 13-0. The PAT would fail. Unfortunately, South Shelby's 13-0 lead would be short-lived as well. Immediately, coming up right here, very next play, it's Austin Francis with the short slant pass to Austin Wyatt. You remember these guys from the KHQA Subway Superfan Shootout this year. Great basketball players, not bad football players. 71-yard slant pass makes it 13-7. Although South Shelby's defense would step up the rest of the first half. Austin Durbin here with the nice pass breakup and stop, which forced the ball out, and a 3-and-out at that point. Then it's Tyler Fuller causing a fumble right here as Salisbury trailed at the half 13-7. However, in the second half, it was all in this one. It was all, unfortunately, about the offense and the passing game for Austin Francis and Salisbury as the Panthers would go to work. As I mentioned, we talked about Trace Windsor and the injury. He was taken off by cart. He had spent most of the first half sitting hunched over on the bench, and eventually the pain just got too severe. Again, he seems to be doing well right now. That's the report we got from the hospital, but we wish him the very best of recovery. And as I mentioned, 2 touchdowns, the difference in this ball game, both passing touchdowns from Austin Francis. That ends South Shelby's fine season. Final count in this one was 21-13 in favor of the Panthers. Now let's talk some soccer. The Canton Tigers, of all the area teams still standing, probably reigned as the most pleasant surprise. This is, after all, a squad that got outshot 26-5 in the sectionals, with their midfielder playing in net out of necessity and still found a way to secure the first Elite 8 berth in program history. It's the soccer squad that just flat out refuses to die. Today, though, a much taller order against a Sobu Co team, Southern Boone County, that's just absolutely phenomenal. Tell you what, they play in a palace, too. Great soccer facility in Ashland as we take you to those highlights. Soccer time is upon us. And the Canton Tigers, though, came into this game playing with a lot of confidence. They still had Cameron Durst in net, taking over, and he did such a great job the other night. He'd make a few saves early in this game. Unfortunately for Cameron, he was under constant duress in this one, as Southern Boone County just kind of kept making plays and trying to put things on net. And eventually, 12 minutes into this game, they would get on net and get successfully on net in this one, as they had a couple of goals, one in the 12th minute, one in the 20th minute, to end up taking the win here. They were goals by Tanner Helms and Landon Bartel. You will see first, this is Helms, I should say, later Bartel. Canton's fine soccer run comes to an end at the hands of a powerhouse. 4-0 was your final on that one. One other high school score to pass along today. Jacksonville's quest for third place in state in volleyball comes to an end today as the Lady Crimsons lose to Champaign Centennial, 2-0, but great season for them as well. And still to come here on Overtime, the Illinois College Blue Boys were fighting for their playoff lives. We'll have those highlights, plus the debut of Quincy University men's basketball, all on tap next.
You're watching KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications.
And welcome back to Overtime, everybody. Last year, the Illinois College Blue Boys secured the program's first ever Division III football playoff invite. And yet, despite the fact that Garrett Campbell's crew had a chance to finish this season with the exact same one-loss record, that they did a year ago, there's a very real possibility that if the bloggers are to be believed, that IC will be on the wrong side of the playoff bubble when the pairings are announced. All the Blue Boys could do then is post a win today against a very good Carroll squad and hope for the best. Unfortunately, those plans unraveled very quickly today for the Blue Boys. Michael Bates right here making a great pass down the sidelines. However, this drive would stall, and all of a sudden, Illinois College was down 28-0. More from Bates right here, scrambling around, making things happen, and eventually finding Cecil Brimage down the sidelines. That's a 33-yard pickup, which sets up this beautiful touchdown just before the half to Kevin Wallace. A 30-yard strike made it 28-7. Unfortunately for the Blue Boys, they never got much closer. They bow out. The playoff possibilities all dead today with that second loss as Illinois College picks up the loss in ugly fashion. Final count in this one saw Illinois College lose 49-14. Other college football scores to pass along to you tonight. Some news good, some news bad. Western Illinois' struggles continue as they fall to 3-7 on the season, losing their home closer today to Youngstown State. The Penguins win that one 31-7. Also good news, though, on this front. For a local product, Lindenwood beats Truman State. Brock Reed out of Palmyra with 6 tackles today and a pair of pass breakups for Lindenwood. Although Truman State does pick up the loss, 38-13 was your final there. Quincy University ends its season on an up note, beating William Jewell 21-14. That's the 3rd win of the season for the Hawks as they knock off William Jewell behind a pair of touchdown passes from Jacksonville's Nick Lonergan, both of them to Justin Dickens. Also, Culver Stockton loses today. Final count in that one was 34-7 to end the regular season at 1-10. One note we'd like to pass along, Eastern Illinois University is your OVC champs. That's important to us locally because their left tackle is Quincy Notre Dame's own Dom Pagliara. So congratulations to Dom on his outstanding work this season and on getting a little crown and a little share of that crown for Eastern Illinois. EIU getting the big win over SEMO. 39-20 was your final there. How about Quincy University making its basketball debut against Hannibal LaGrange? Drake Vermillion and company were in for a bit of a struggle tonight as HLGU came to play just a bit in this one. We'll start with the reigning KHQA Player of the Year making his debut as a starter tonight. Dalton Hoover out of Pittsfield knocked down a 3. He scored his team's first 5 points. Quincy University was kind of off to the races early in this game. Chris Babbitt with a nice showing in the first half in this one. Dalton Hoover with the assist right here, and it's Babbitt with the long 3. A little bit later, it's Jordan Wilson with the fadeaway, the NBA pro-style fadeaway right here, spinning away Kobe-esque style to give his team an 8-0 lead. And then Chris Babbitt playing some defense right here, throwing down the big slam at the other end. Maura Babbitt had himself, as I mentioned, a really good start in this game as he'd come up free right here with the offensive rebound, and nobody wants to guard him, so he's going to take that up. HLGU, though, got back into this game in a hurry and played really tight in this one. Jurgen Lico right there with the beautiful take and the beautiful fake to make that happen. Scott Hahn trying to answer for the Hawks. Look at him go right here from the outside, knocking down the long triple. Quincy University does eventually hang on, but the Trojans made it tough for them. Final count in this one, 69-66 for Quincy University. Also, men's college basketball opener tonight for Western Illinois. No problems dispatching with Wabash. 71-39 was your final there. Culver Stockton also picking up a road in men's basketball. Picking up a road win today. 65-61 was your final. And John Wood winning today at the Southeastern Classic, that in Burlington. Brad Hamilton, the Pittsfield product, with 10 points there. And we'll have more overtime for you coming up after this. Well, we have once again reached the time here on Overtime where we will unveil our latest Con Communication Connection nominee for the month of November. Here's the deal. We put up 4 outstanding couplings, sports-wise, for your perusal. And at the end of the month, you get a chance to vote for the very best of the lot. And as an incentive to vote, anyone who participates in the process becomes eligible to win a prize package from Con Communication. What better place to start tonight than back down in DuQuoin with the outstanding start for Central Southeastern, as this is Dalton Hubner, and that is 90 yards of goodness, a connection that helped put Central Southeastern up early and helped fuel the team to victory and a first ever Final Four appearance in football. Again, Dalton Hubner is your nominee for this week, the second nominee for the month of November. Your chance to vote coming up at the end of the month. Right now, your 2 nominees include the penalty kick that won Canton Soccer its place in a first ever sectional berth. Obviously, great penalty kick from Johnny Lee. And, of course, that kickoff return from Central Southeastern's Dalton Hubner. 2 more nominees coming your way later this month. And then your chance to vote. Well, from the No Sense of Closure department tonight, believe it or not, high school basketball season starts this week. The ladies will lead us off, and we thought we'd help put some perspective on the season to be over the next 2 weekends by unveiling our preseason power polls right here. You see, starting with 8 on down, Illini West with a brand new coach, Monroe City with a brand new coach. Both of those situations a little bit iffy. Both teams have very talented guards. Monroe City really good with Carly Spaulding. She's going to be tough to match up with. So we kind of like those teams as sleepers. Marion County also a sleeper after the big run. No more Jessica Red, no more RLP. This is a team, though, that does have Kaylin Spratt, does have an awful lot of athletic ability, has some players who can get some things done. We will see where they fare as well. And Routt Catholic, which is a team that's young but very, very loaded. Let's take you to the top 4 teams going into the new season, girls-wise. Bobby Spoonster returns nearly everything he had last season at Bowling Green. Very good ball club. Unity might be the biggest ascending team in our area, especially in Western Illinois. Have some really good players coming back, some really strong players, including Brianne Begeman, who I think is destined for stardom this season. The only team that seems to be a little bit more loaded small school-wise is Central Lee, which brings back nearly everybody, including an outstanding big in Taylor Burdett and an outstanding point guard in Tracy Keller. That means an awful lot. We've got Quincy Notre Dame, of course, the 2-time defending state champs #1, coming up tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Ross Green will preview the Quincy Notre Dame Lady Raiders season for you, and we'll have more overtime coming up after this.